Hi, I'm Chief Dave Tullis. I've been the chief here for about 2.5 years now, and what I'm going to be discussing is what we had to do in 2020 to keep our community safe because of this invisible enemy, COVID-19. Maumee police officers are medical first responders. Typically, they are first on the scene of an accident, disaster, or violent incident and begin administrating first aid long before emergency personnel are summoned. Because of their role, officers are at high risk of contracting and spreading this virus. Maumee law enforcement officers have hundreds of interactions with public every day, often in circumstances that increase the chances of disease transmission. Providing first aid at an accident scene is an obvious example. Responding to a domestic violence incident puts officers inside private homes in closed circumstances with residents who might not be taking health precautions. Wrestling to control a violent suspect carries obvious risk. Transporting suspects in a closed squad car means breathing the same air. When officers contract COVID, resulting hospitalization or quarantine removes them from duty, reducing the staffing and effectiveness of their law enforcement agency. So instead of fighting, we always fight an invisible enemy, now we have another one that we had to fight. So in order for us to maintain our health and to maintain the safety of our community, we had to do a lot of different things. As shift change, we no longer had contact with the shifts from prior to coming in or the ones that are coming in after us. We leave a little bit earlier so we don't have that cross-contamination. Our cars and our workspaces are probably the cleanest they've ever been in the entire existence of the police department. They're sanitized every single day before the shift starts and after the shift and at the end of the shift. Dispatchers, they leave before another dispatcher comes and they clean their workstation. Dispatchers, we also talked about how we respond to calls for services. Dispatchers are to gather information on non-emergency calls to determine if an incident may be reported over the phone and then contact an officer to return the call or the report is made over the phone. So we've been making a lot of reports over the phone whenever that's possible. We also want to maintain visibility because we want our public to know that we are out there patrolling and keeping them safe, and we're there to respond to their calls. So we do extra patrols through Myers and Kroger's and Fallen Timbers where there might be large gatherings of people. When school was out, we did extra patrol in the parks. The parks were extremely busy in 2020. We continued doing stuff like door checks, but what we did was we wear gloves instead of going up and shaking doors. Now we had gloves, disposable gloves. These were all important so we can keep our staffing at the level it is. We did have emergency plans that if we lost 40% of our staffing, we would revert to a 12-hour schedule so we maintain coverage on the road. We had partnerships with various businesses. One of them was Yark car dealership there on Kona Street. Anytime we transported a prisoner or if we felt that our car needed sanitized, we took it right over to them and they stopped whatever they were doing and they sanitized our car. It took about 2 or 3 minutes to spray the sanitized fluid in our cars. This year was also challenging because of all the rallies and the protests that were for social injustices. We had 3 of them in our city that were pretty large. We also had to respond to other cities to help for backup. But one of the things that came out of this is that in 2021, our police officers are going to be having body cameras. Our city council and mayor and safety director thought it was prudent of us to have body cameras. And starting in February, we're getting our training. So we're going to be having body cameras, which will be more effective help our police officers deal with the social injustices out there. And we can be more transparent to our community. So that's what we have been doing to keep our city straight, our city and our streets safe. Thank you.